Hello, welcome back for part two. I have Kimberly Joy Rummage here with me. She's a doctor of physical therapy, a certified fitness nutrition coach, and the founder of Kimberly Joy Fitness. In the first part of this podcast, we were talking about finding joy, setting your priorities, and having a thankful heart and a positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So, in this part of the podcast, we're going to talk about finding the time for self-care, and the difference between self-care and selfishness. Because as women, I think society and our own expectations much of the time, and we're set up to feel like if we take time, and you can tell me if I'm right about this, or if you've ever had this experience, because I have, there's other things that I need to do, that I need to get to be a good mom, a good wife, a good friend, a good this, a good that. And you push your thoughts and ideas, needs, desires, the things that bring you joy, that make you smile, that make you feel whole. You push them aside for another time, another day, another hour, another week, another month, another year. And it's not because you don't care about yourself. It's because you have so many things on your plate, and perhaps you do think, if I do this, I'm being selfish, whatever this is, whether it's,
Mm-hmm.
and self-care is, I've found, so much different from how it's touted in our popular culture. Self-care isn't, I don't know, for me, it isn't about indulging in my favorite dessert, or I guess for me, self-care isn't indulging, it's being intentional about how you care for yourself. So I want to hear your take on selfish versus self-care, and how we can break free of that guilt we feel as women if we're not serving others, because we're taught to be accommodating. At least my culture did. We're
Yeah.
taught to be accommodating, we're taught to be helpful, and as Christian women, we're taught to constantly serve.
Right. Right.
Take it away.
And so self-care is something that we look at. It's not just one thing, right? That is anything that's helping you with your um, physical, mental, spiritual, right? All that is part of self-care. So we start that day with that gratitude and those priorities, right? That's self-care. Self-care is also taking care of our bodies, because we are a temple. God designed us that way. We are respecting and honoring what He gave us. And so that is one thought process that helps flip the switch a little bit for a lot of women, is like, you're right. If God gave me this, I should be honoring it, just like I honor Him with my money, or I honor Him how I, serve my family, right? I'm honoring Him and how I treat my body, because it is the temple for the Holy Spirit. So I want to make sure I'm looking at it that way. Then I think, okay, so how am I fitting that in? And we can really get in our heads that we've got to do like this hour-long workout at the gym and take all this time away from these other priorities. And this is what also helped me birth my Kimberly Joy Fitness channel, was that I, as a mom, was working full time when I had my babies, and I didn't have time, or I didn't want to have time to go to the gym and put them in daycare after they've been in daycare when I was working. I
Mhm.
wanted time with them. And so I ended up starting to work out at home. And I found that it was just easier for me to fit this in when I did it at home, because I could do it while my family was around. Maybe the babies were napping. Maybe they hadn't quite gotten up. I get up just a little bit earlier. I don't have to know I don't care what I look like, because no one's seeing me.
Mhm.
I don't have to take the time to get in the car, drive somewhere, get the equipment set up. I could do it all at home and be done with it like 30 minutes or more faster. And I didn't miss any moments of being a mom, a wife, or whatever happened. And so this is what I wanted to give this opportunity to others, of saying, hey, since we know it's a priority, since we know we need to be healthy and do some things for our bodies, let's make it as simple as possible. Now, if you love going to the gym and that fuels you, awesome. I love that. But for me, it was that I could fit this in, and it didn't have to be a long time. It can be a 20-minute, it can be 30 minutes. And a lot of my workouts, the longest ones are 45 minutes, but that's with a warm up and a cool down and a workout in between to get you in and out, right? Like, get yourself set up and out the door. That's my design. And so finding something that does that for you, that it doesn't have to be a long time, but it has to be a time. And the reason why this is important is because when we take that time to make ourselves healthy, we're more efficient with being able to serve our family, our kids, our community, because our body is stronger and healthier. We're more energized and we're more efficient. So it's like I've got so much more work done than I would have if I hadn't taken that time. And so it's counterintuitive, but it really does make a difference. And then we feel good because we also are like, I did take time for myself and I did get that done. And I still got all these other things done because I took that as a priority, knowing that I was going to be better at serving if I did take that time. And so it's not being selfish. When I look at it, when I realize it's not selfish if I know I'm going to be better and more effective for this person by doing this, that's not selfish. That's really giving. So really making sure we have that right mindset on that self-care.
And I mean, we obviously all know the benefits of exercise, like releasing endorphins. I think it's also a confidence boost because
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I did it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to worry about who's watching you at the gym or how you look doing the exercise. And what I love about your videos is you really break it down so that anybody can do the exercise. It's not some type of fitness where it's like so high and lofty and challenging that I'm looking at it going, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Maybe someday, like you break
Mm-hmm.
it down, you make it approachable, and I can see the joy. I mean, if you enjoy fitness, I can see the joy, and I can tell that it's authentic. So what are some other like things that kind of relate to this topic that around self-care and maybe some tips that you can give us around beating that feeling of feeling you're being selfish, like, so yeah, take it away, whatever you want to
Mhm.
say.
So, knowing too that when you do self care, you are demonstrating to your family what healthy looks like. So when we look at it and we think, oh, I just need to give, and I just need to, now, is that how you want your son or daughter to work? You'd be like, no, 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 I want to make sure they take care of themselves. Okay, then how are you demonstrating that? And how are you being that example? And so part of the power comes is I'm also in the process of teaching by demonstrating. And that is very, very powerful. So if I think that I don't want my children to follow this action, I might not be good at doing this action. I shouldn't be doing this action, right? I want them to follow a good example. And so, again, it's some of these small switches that really help us cognitively realize, you know what? I am okay doing this. I am okay taking this time. And it's not selfish because I'm being this great example because I want them to live like this. I'm being healthy. So I'm being ready for them at a better efficiency and strength level and emotional level. And I'm also just feeling good because now I feel healthier. So I, it's again, just sometimes it's those little mindsets of how we speak to ourselves to shift that from it's not selfish to do this, it's actually selfish not to do it. Because then you're not giving your best to somebody and you're not giving your best to God. Why would I want to do that?
Okay, so along with that, there's that the mindset that
Mm-hmm.
you have to look a certain way, you have to be a certain way. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously you're a very fit person. I'm still working on my fitness. But a lot of us women compare ourselves to other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can also be a roadblock to getting started. I think for some people, they get intimidated by what they see, or they feel like I'll never look like that, or
Mm-hmm.
or I'm just, I'm just going to give up before I even get started, right? Like self
Right.
behavior. And that was something, and I'm kind of shifting the conversation a little bit, but that just came to mind because I saw one of your posts the other day about self-defeating behavior and self-sabotaging. And I know that wasn't something that we had necessarily on the agenda, but I think it really plays into that whole mindset of selfish versus self-care and that mind shift that needs to happen. And obviously the self-awareness has to be there to realize, am I self-sabotaging?
Mm-hmm.
I, doing things to sabotage my own health, my mental, emotional, physical, spiritual well-being. And again,
Right.
your children see what you do. And not that you want to be a performing monkey and always be like, oh, look at me, kids, do what I'm doing. It's got to come from a place of authenticity, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be involved. Like my daughter's 12 and a half right now. She's like, she doesn't want to do what mom does, right? But when she was younger, she would participate in what and thought it was fun and cool, whatever. So depending on the
Mm-hmm.
children, I mean, I'm sure you have tips on how to get creative with fitness as well. But yeah, so the self-sabotaging that can go on, and a lot of it's self-talk, right?
Absolutely. And how we speak to ourselves. If you can't say, if you wouldn't let your child speak that, then you shouldn't be speaking it to yourself. So many of us, we won't even like what we say to ourselves, we wouldn't even say out loud. And that's just really detrimental and really put some, black spots literally on our brain, as Dr. Carolyn Leaf talks about. So we just need to make sure we're speaking and we're thinking about this in the correct way. And then it's not about being perfect. That's really where we get stuck. It's all or nothing. No, 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 no. It is about being consistent and just saying, I'm trying to be better today than I was yesterday. That
Right.
means I only have to do something really small to be better than yesterday. It doesn't mean it's a lot. It was like, oh, I did 2 minutes of gratitude rather than a minute and 35 seconds. It's okay. I still was better than I was yesterday. Those type of things, but we really get into this like perfection modes, and it's just ridiculous. We tell our clients a lot about the toothbrush analogy, where we get ourselves a toothbrush, and most of us have the toothbrush sitting out on the counter, and we have that habit established, and we brush our teeth in the morning, brush our teeth at night. And every once in a while we fall asleep and we didn't brush our teeth that night. But guess what do we do the next morning? We just get up and we brush our teeth. We don't decide, oh, I'm never brushing my teeth again because I missed it that one time.
Mhm.
Or we don't run to the dentist because we think that we now have a cavity, but we do that with our health. We just go, well, I missed that workout, so probably can't do that. Instead of just saying, no, I just picked that toothbrush up and I brushed my teeth again. Okay, so today I'm going to try that again. It's about just continuing going. It's not about perfection. And when we, again, start shifting our mindset into like, I'm just trying to be a little bit better today than I was yesterday. What does that look like? And giving myself grace and just trying and just keep moving forward, then we get those results that we're looking for. And it's not about looking a certain way. It's about being healthy. Healthy means that we have a good mindset. Healthy means we can move through our body the right way. We don't have those aches and pains. We have the right strength. It means that we are fueling our body correctly with a good nutrition, and we're sleeping and we're managing our stress. That's all our health. When we start dialing all of that in, actually that's when you start seeing the results of the body you actually want, because those are all those aspects. So we don't focus on getting what we look like. We look at our health, and then actually that's kind of where those results and a lot of times end up coming. And so we just need to focus on what is healthy for me and what are some areas I could do better on my health to prioritize myself so that I can be the most effective wife, mother, community partner that I can be and serve at my full capacity.
I love that you mentioned nutrition and sleep because they're a huge piece to this puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
as well as mindset and spiritual
Mm-hmm.
growth. You've got to deposit in those areas of your life. Obviously, 80% of what um, happens to us is nutrition, right? Like you can work out all day long, but if you don't eat healthy, it's going to eventually catch up with you. Maybe on the outside, you
Absolutely.
right away. And when you were talking about, we talked a little bit about self-defeating behavior. I see New Year's resolutions a lot. I saw it a lot when I ran a gym where people would come in, they have the new shoes, the new outfit. I think back to the 80s with the headband and the light.
Yeah.
Everybody's there riding on the bike or they're on the treadmill, and then
Yeah.
like slowly, it was less and less crowded and coming less and less frequently. And it's because, like you said, it's all or nothing. But
Absolutely.
progress is progress, consistency is consistency. Maybe one day it's 5 minutes, the next day it's 20, and the next day it's 10. It doesn't have to be the same every day, right? And I love
Absolutely.
nutrition. I would love for you to touch on nutrition and sleep as well,
Okay.
because I think it's such a huge, huge piece. I've seen this a lot as well, like eating healthy and exercising all week, and then the weekend comes along and it's like,
Right, right. So I really believe in a nutrition plan that is a lifelong plan, right? So that means that we kind of prioritize real healthy foods, but it's not an all or nothing. Like there are foods that I just say they're not bad, but we're going to limit and be very purposeful when we choose them. So I can have birthday cake, but I'm not going to have birthday cake every night, right? Or I'm not going to have every weekend. I'm going to just load up on birthday cake, right? It's a specific time for that. And the other times I'm going to be eating these more nutrition dense foods. A lot of it is focused on whole foods, the way, kind of the way God designed it, right? The apple, it's straight there. I mean, there's nothing that's touched it, or, it's coming from the ground. It's the potato, or it's coming from a mother. It's the egg. Those type of ideas of really getting that nutrition dense food. And we really, I like to teach about prepping yourself correctly for the week for success. So if we produce that right environment, just like we did with that toothbrush sitting out on the counter, we produce the right environment. It's not dug into the counter. It's not underneath way in the back of the drawer. It's out and easy to use. What we do is, taking a little time on the weekend, maybe Sunday, just a little bit of time and doing some preparation for the week. So things are very easy and manageable for success. And then you're giving yourself that environment. You have some fruits and veggies washed up and cut and ready in the fridge so that when you open it up, you're like, oh, I could just grab that. And I'm grabbing a veggie rather than something that's like a cracker or cookie or something it's fast and easy. So anything that makes those easier transitions for our busy lifestyle to set yourself up for success. So it's taking a little time to produce a lot of positive environments for you to have success.
I love
Same
that.
thing with same thing with sleep and stress management. Both of those are really big parts of our health that we don't tend to address. We think I got to work out and then I got to eat right. And these other aspects really do play a part. So your sleep, making sure you're taking the time to have the amount of sleep you need. You need like at least that 7 hours of good sleep. You need to kind of think about like a cooler environment, making sure that it's a dark room, making sure you're taking off the blue light at a certain point, those type of things to help that environment to give you that time. And sometimes it's like, well, as a mom, I'm just too busy to get to sleep. Again, that will catch up with you. And then you'll be more sick, more tired, and then you're not there to do what you were designed to do. And so if we take that time, it it shows up later, right? And so right now we're focusing on that to help us sustain ourselves. Otherwise, we give up, right? I'm going to give up some sleep now, and then later I'm going to really have some problems because now I'm sick and I'm tired and I can't do what I want to do or what I'm designed to do with serving my family and community. So doing that and then making sure stress management is really important. Stress management is where we get a lot of that weight gain right in that center because that's where that cortisol spikes and just hangs out there and it's very stubborn and it's really looking at how we're managing our stress. And so that's where we're doing that gratitude. We're doing some breath work. We're doing some things that are thoughtful for our bodies and that's reducing that stress and that's helping us manage that, which also is another part of that aspect of health.